Hi. Welcome to another YouTube Live. Oh, that's what I was looking for. And hope you're all having a lovely day in spite of this dreadful weather. And can't wait until 90 degrees hits on the thermostat. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for free, of course. Sessions are available through September 2026. Autographed books are on the website. Art is up already, but sacramentals will be following. GeorgeAnderson.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, threads at George Anderson Medium. You can certainly always follow me on. Of course, general questions only. There will be no personal messages, no questions about specific individuals. Please post your questions in the chat or comment box. And I think that's it. A belated happy St. Valentine's Day to all of you. And St. Valentine is one saint that I must admit I didn't have much biographical information on, but thanks to one of my coworkers, found it today that St. Valentine had actually been living in Rome, and the Roman emperor had made some decree that men, I believe, couldn't be married or because they wanted more individuals for militaristic purposes. And St. Valentine became friendly with the emperor's daughter, who happened to be blind. And on a particular day, he sent her a love note and signed it, Love Your Valentine. And that's probably where that tradition has stemmed till this day. And that was quite interesting because I wasn't very familiar with that. And now you understand why so many cards and novelties will say love from your Valentine, because it's due to the saint and what he was doing in a very romantic manner. And where the other things like sweets and gifts and so forth came from, all probably came from that as things branched out, where the day would become more singularly significant. But that's a short synopsis of what I found out about St. Valentine. And so I would assume that St. Valentine's Day is actually his feast day as well. And he certainly made a difference for a day that might have turned out to be rather forgotten or insignificant over the ages. But we know now that it is very much celebrated by everyone. And it has nothing to do with religion or being Catholic or anything like that. It's just a day of significance to those we cherish and hold dear. and hold us the same way, whether they be here or hereafter. You certainly can extend blessings for Valentine's Day to your loved ones in the hereafter, especially if you did share a romantic relationship with them when they were here on the earth. I reach out mostly to widows and especially widowers because men do not like being widowers. So the souls have told me, and so it's been proven. Most men that I've done discernments for that are widowers, it's the first thing their wife from the world unseen emphasizes is that they recognize that their husband left behind is not really in a happy state as a widower. And also, men are not good at communicating their sensitivities and emotions. So, that can also be a hindrance as well. So, most men will keep their feelings to themselves and circumstances to themselves. But hopefully, I can give them comfort and assurance that someday, when their time comes, when it is supposed to, that they will be reunited with their spouse again in the world unseen, and life will continue to go on for the two of them as long as they are together over there. So, to all those widowers, especially, look for the positive outcome up ahead. There's no conception of time there, but there is here, and it can feel as if it's taking forever for you to pass on. It's the hardest thing to understand is you don't get there until you're supposed to be there. So just see each day as one day less and one day closer, most emphatically. And in the meantime, I'm sure many individuals still talk to their other half and do recognize, I hope, that their presence is still very near. The only thing that's changed is form. They're just not in physical body anymore. They're in spiritual body. But that makes it possible for them to be closer to us than we ultimately can imagine. So, for the widows, widowers, or people who have certainly, not only in a marriage sense, but also people who have lost a parent or a sibling, someone that you were very, very close to, that they would be near as well, certainly to help you to get through it, because many of the people here have also expressed their frustration for those in the world unseen. The bottom line is still everybody wants everybody here. And since that cannot be for this temporary time, it's not everlasting. So look forward to a loving, joyful time up ahead when there's a joyful reunion there. And including our pets, because anything that has loved us and we have loved back survives the transition of the physical. And spiritually, those souls are always with us. I mean, I see cats in my house all the time, where I think it's one of the cats that I have here, and then I turn my head, and of course, nothing's there or it vanishes. But that's okay. They can visit anytime they want. They know where they were loved and cherished and know where they're missed. So I would certainly even extend a Valentine's love to them also. And many people would certainly appreciate that. Now, if we have any questions coming forward, let them rip.
With prayer, do good intentions but lack an action count in heavenly terms?
Could you repeat that again?
Do good intentions but lack of action count in heavenly terms? Like if you want to make amends with someone but you don't actually get to do it, does that count?
I would say more than likely. Um, they always encourage us to certainly, and it's all up to us, to certainly make peace with an individual here or there. And once again, it's up to you to do it. Some people, for example, myself, there's individuals over there I do not feel that they left here with good terms with me. And as of now, I still have no intention of forgiving them or overlooking their faults or treatment of me. And maybe it'll change someday. But if it's that feeling that keeps you going and also helps you to deal with the situation, it may be just for a temporary time, but if it gets you through the day, so be it.
Percentage wise, if you can say, how much have the souls revealed to you about the afterlife?
I would have to say a very high percentage, but keep in mind each session that I do is a new and unique experience, and I have no knowledge what that session is going to entail. So I'm still learning spiritually and learning how it works over there and growing. But in the meantime, I would say a very high percentage of understanding the world unseen.
How many exit points do we get in life?
Exit points?
Like chances to move on to the afterlife?
Um, well, as far as I know, there's a scheduled time we're born and a scheduled time and circumstances when we will pass on. So I would see it as when that time arrives, that would be a exit point. Over the last few years, I've had situations where it seemed like I was on the way out and I'm still here. So evidently, it's not my time to be there yet.
Do souls forgive their mothers if their mothers were too sick to carry them to term?
Um, yeah, I don't think they, sorry, allergies. I don't think they hold anything against anyone here, especially if it was beyond their control for whatever reason. So just understand that they understand and are sympathetic to you in the situation that had occurred.
You have said dogs and cats are over there. Are dinosaurs there as well?
Good question. But No, they're not over there because they evolved into other species when their time had come. But it's a good question, though, because I've thought that also. But remember that they evolved into other species. Um, Chickens, I believe I read somewhere that there's belief that they were T Rexes in another time. And interesting that they should be such a cherished dish on our table, considering that T Rex, we could have been a cherished dish on its table. But that's what happened. Most of the dinosaurs, when they died out, have evolved into other species. Look at some of the birds of the air. You can certainly say where they've come from, and turtles and different variations of life have still gone on. Look at a rhinoceros. It's evident that that species came from the dinosaurs. So, in a way, they're still with us, I guess, but in different forms.
What can we do on this place to help our loved ones in the hereafter who died by suicide?
Well, first of all, sorry, allergies. Um, First of all, the best thing you can do is pray for them and offer up your day or sacrifices for them. No good deed is overlooked over there, and it's the simple things that turn out to be the most profound. Usually, when somebody unfortunately contributes to ending their life, I pick them up as not being in the right frame of mind when that occurred. So when you're not in the right frame of mind, you don't do rational things. So you have to see that these souls were not in the right frame of mind. They're not suffering or burning in hell over there as we've been taught. But the souls told me recently not that they're singularizing or putting down anybody else's belief system, but the souls have told me that the Catholics have the right idea in encouraging praying for the dead and the so called dead, I'll say. And it certainly will embrace them with love and blessings.
Do you ever get souls come to you when you're not working and in public place with a message for someone you don't, who's in public that you just come across?
Not usually, because when I'm supposed to work, I'm supposed to work. When I know I have to do a discernment, that's when it comes. That may happen with me in regards to people I know personally in my life, because their loved ones will know that I'll have the advantage of giving them the message. Many souls have come to me that are complete strangers and tell me about who will be coming to see me that particular day. And naturally, by the time the appointment comes, it's out of my head. And then they'll refresh my memory. I've also dreamt about doing sessions and then find when the time comes that I'm doing them, again, that I'm fulfilling it now, that dream. So those things can happen. So there's different avenues that can come to me at various times when I may not be officially working. Post your questions in the chat or comment box, please.
Is talking to deceased loved ones considered prayer?
Um, well, prayer is anything that's uplifting to the soul or being done on somebody else's behalf. Prayer is when it's offered for somebody else from you, that is actually more powerful. Um, I guess in a way, if you are talking to your loved ones in a prayerful manner, it can be taken that way because I don't want people to think that the only prayers that are beneficial are the ones we've been raised with. The Psalms in the Bible are also a very powerful form of prayer. So there are many alternatives we have that we're able to apply on behalf of those in the world unseen.
Who is the saint you have the most devotion to?
That's a toughie. Because there's so many. I mean, I still have devotion with Saint Philomena and still have devotion with Saint Barbara because she appears in so many of my sessions. And naturally, from a Catholic perspective, the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, I have devotion with them. Saint Dymphna, and I also recommend people who are having mental and emotional struggles to call upon her for help and reassurance because she has certainly come through in sessions where people have passed on through contributing, tending their own lives, or very tragically, and the saint reminds them that she's there to um, be there for them in case any way that they would want.
Do the souls have anything to say about the current political climate in the world?
Other than it sucks, to be honest. Um, but this too will pass, I'm sure. It's just a question of getting to that point. But the they have come through and said that they sympathize with us because we're stuck here dealing with all the bull and out of control chaos that seems to be coming to pass. But it all has to reach a head sooner or later, and hopefully things will move on to a more loving and peaceful atmosphere.
Have you ever encountered a soul from the lower levels that liked it there in the lower levels?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. Some woman had come to me for a session, and her mother had been a complete bitch on wheels. And she's in the lower levels, I was told. They don't present any harm or trouble to me. I hope sometimes that they reach out, that they're trying to redeem themselves. But some of these souls have reported that angelic or enlightened beings in the perpetual light have come to administer that to them in a social worker kind of way to help them to get out of there. And many souls have just, to the face of the good intention soul, just completely reject it and say that they just are content where they are for whatever reason. So maybe they're a little uncertain about moving into the light until they realize it for themselves that it's a very fortunate thing to gain.
When someone remarries after losing their spouse, who are they technically married to in heaven?
Well, actually, both spouses will have a significance with you because both spouses played, I would hope, a unique role in different periods of your life. Remember, there's no sense of jealousy or resentment over there when you're in the perpetual light. And the spouse that passed on would want to see the spouse that is still here on the earth to do the best to go on with their life and would never hold it against them to find love and happiness again.
If a loved one passed and you have them buried, but you later decide to have them cremated, is it considered disturbing the soul to do that?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but being that it's just the physical remains, I would think that there'd be the soul is long detached from those physical remains. So I don't think one would have anything to do with the other.
For those who are curious what unborn children think and do, right, while they're in utero, have you ever communicated with such souls?
Souls have come through that have told me they didn't make it to the finish line. In other words, a miscarriage, or for some other reason that the cycle was stopped. But most of them are very understanding as to why that incident happened and why it was necessary. They certainly don't hold any hostility to anybody here that that situation happened to them.
But you've never been able to communicate with a soul that is currently a fetus.
I'm trying to think. Um, yes, I did, as a matter of fact. There was a family member who was in the family way, and she was supposed to have twins, and yet had to keep the fetus in her womb to hold up the fetus that was going to be born. And that fetus had conveyed to me that they were that individual's, so to speak, guardian angel. And it was part of her mission here to keep the other twin fetus alive and well until delivery was predicted to come.
Have you personally had a soul you knew come through with a message for you?
Um, Not really. Because I mean, I have over the years, but most of the time, the ability is meant to be used for the public out there. And also, knowing me, I might be cynical about a soul coming to me that I know or would have known personally because I would be inclined to not be receptive to it because of familiarity.
Do our loved ones come to us to let us know that we will be crossing over soon?
That has happened to many people that I know. Um, a friend that used to work with me, she had a dream one night that her paternal grandmother came to her and told her that she was going to be coming for her father soon. And they didn't hear from him for a while. And then, of course, when they were able to get into his home, they found him in front of the TV set and he had passed away. Also, um, a very close individual I knew in the physical, she had confided in me that she had a dream that her biological mother, her sister, and the aunt who had raised her as a mother came to her and told her, "We'll be coming for you soon. Don't be afraid." And that was the essence of the message.
What would you say to a loved one who's afraid to cross over to the hereafter?
Um, I would try to convince them as best I can that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Now, I will be honest, my eldest sister, who just turned 88 last month, she, last time I visited with her, she told me that she's afraid to pass on, even though she's a widow and certainly misses her husband. And I said to her, but there's nothing to fear. And I believe she must have the longevity in the family. And in a case with her, I'm hoping she just dies very peacefully in her sleep, where she almost doesn't realize what happened until it happens. And then we'll find a place of peace and tranquility in the world unseen, and her fears will be no doubt alleviated.
Did you ever have a session that changed the way you think and feel about a particular subject?
Trying to think. Oh, you're really racking my brain tonight, and I don't want things to think that I'm just things are going in one ear and out the other, but sometimes they do. My father, may he rest in peace, used to complain all the time that I didn't listen. And I've had souls in the hereafter complain to me about that also. But in regards to your question, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. I'd have to really have some time to give it some thought. Um, Sorry, I was just distracted and I couldn't read. I have to get my eyes checked.
Has a murderer ever come through during a session seeking forgiveness?
Yes, over the years, I can't recall of a specific incident, but souls have come through looking for forgiveness for what they might have done here. But there may be a reason why all of that episode had to be the way it was for some bizarre reason. But yes, I have. And on the other hand, on the negative side, I've had years ago a soul come through and told me flat out that the subject I was doing the discerning for, to quote her exactly from the hereafter, she said, "That son of a bitch murdered me." And I remembered thinking, is this for real or am I just daydreaming? Well, it turned out it was for real because the guy freaked out and started pleading his innocence. So I don't know whatever became of that in any case.
Is there really a rainbow bridge, or do our fur babies go to the same place we do?
I have heard that there is a rainbow bridge that especially is utilized by pets and animals who go over to the hereafter, um, and possibly souls as well can take advantage of it also. So I think either is utilized, but remember the animals have no real um, soul mission to accomplish because they're already the apple of the creator's eyes. So they would probably find themselves on that rainbow bridge.
Do those inflicted with Alzheimer's or dementia become whole after passing?
Yes, because keep in mind that those unfortunate illnesses are illnesses of the physical body. Same thing with depression, anxiety, mood swings. All of this is of the physical. Once the form has changed and you're out of the physical body, you are at once back to your old self.
Did you ever get bad vibes from a reading that disturbed you?
Well, I always do my best to remain detached. I have had instances where something might have made me feel sad or upset, but I always hear another voice from the hereafter tell me to mind my own business and get out of it, that I am merely the instrument. So it happens very rarely because I do keep myself detached from somebody else's personal session.
If the circumstance and day of our death are determined, like you said earlier, does that mean our lives are predetermined and follow a script that can't be changed?
No, I think the opportunity for change is always open to us. It would be up to us to find it, follow it, and make decisions accordingly. Now, sometimes we don't make the best decisions, of course, but um, that opportunity is always there. So sometimes I think, and I try not to, sometimes I think people get so wrapped up in this that it can make your head spin, that they think about this and the other thing. And yet, when they get there, they'll find that it's a very lovely and cherishing atmosphere. And all your worry or anxiety might have been for no reason whatsoever.
Do you connect with spirit guides and guardian angels as well as loved ones in the hereafter?
I have had different angels show up in sessions. Um, it could be that the subject has devotion with that particular angel, or a clue for me for a name or what the angel represents. So there can be many different interpretations that come with the presence. Like, if, for example, if Saint Michael the Archangel appears, it can be a clue for the name Michael, but it can also be a clue that the Archangel is there in a protective manner, or somebody that I'm doing the session for tells me later on that they've always had great devotion with that archangel.
When we cross over, in addition to seeing our loved ones, will we also get to finally meet God?
Well, not in the way you might be thinking, because the souls have told me there's no um, being over there sitting on a throne with a long beard and holding a scepter and trafficking us through the universe. They've told me the essence that we call God, or what I refer to as the creator, is um, is love and light. So when I say the perpetual light, that's the essence of what some people would call God.
If someone told you they died tragically during a session, do you see the accident?
Sometimes, but if I do see it, it kind of comes and goes rather quickly, because the soul might be more interested in reaching out significantly to the individual that experienced that tragedy.
When someone is in a coma, do they get the choice to stay or leave? And can they feel or hear what we say or think?
People in comas have said that they know loved ones are present, um, but some of them, they may also have passed on and are being kept alive artificially, as we know happens nowadays. But normally, when someone's in a coma, I think I'd be inclined to think that the soul has already left the physical body, and, as I said, is being kept alive by artificial means.
Will you get to meet all the people you've had a session with on the other side?
Well, if I do, it's going to be one hell of a welcoming committee, and I may not have any remembrance of it either. Just as now, I can't remember every soul or everybody I've met in my lifetime. So I think, um, perhaps if that happens, even if my memory is refreshed, I still may not recall.
Did a person who dies by suicide reach their specified time here?
Actually, no, because I've been told that they've made a decision to contribute to ending their life here. And some of the souls have said then when they've gone into the light, that the hereafter has shown them what would have happened if they had allowed their life to continue here, and show them what things that they lost out on because, in the wrong frame of mind, they made that tragic decision.
You've spoken a lot about forgiveness during your live sessions. Did a session impact how you feel about sessions? About how you feel about forgiveness?
I'm speaking about forgiveness from my point of view, but if somebody that's there for a session with me, um, I have had souls come through and reach out to them. And even though they've said forgiveness is greater, also have explained that they understand why they're not open minded to extending that. And that actually has proven to be very beneficial for someone here, that they don't want to be badgered into having to do something immediately that they're not comfortable with.
What is your opinion about aliens and do they go to the hereafter?
I have no idea. I don't think I've ever communicated with one, and I don't know if that would ever happen up ahead. But I really don't know anything on the subject, so I'm not going to attempt to give an explanation just to give an explanation.
Do souls celebrate holidays in heaven?
Um, I've heard that they are aware what goes on here joyfully and will still be a part of it and may, in their own perspective, celebrate it over there, but it may not be as it has been celebrated here by us for an extended period of time.
If you are an atheist, do you still go to heaven?
I don't see why not, because an atheist, again, is somebody who doesn't believe in anything. So they certainly don't believe in a being over there. And I've been told by souls who were atheists here on the earth that their outlook has changed, that they jokingly still consider themselves atheists because there's no literal being over there that they call God. So, being an atheist or an agnostic, I would see it as just trying to find your own way. And eventually, once you pass on and learn for yourself, that's where your outlook could significantly change.
When we are reunited with our loved ones in the hereafter and want to physically embrace them, how can we do that if there is no physical body?
Well, I think it's an embracing of their light and their love. Um, Being that you're both spiritual at that time, that you can absorb that and they can absorb yours. Um, they actually say a spiritual hug is much more profound than anything we've ever experienced here in the physical sense.
Can the spirit guides help us understand the disease of cancer in a spiritual aspect?
Do you mean will they dictate a cure? No, they haven't. That's up to us to discover and find out about. So I have never had a soul come to me and say, this formula will cure cancer. And even if they did, I wouldn't be receptive to it because I probably wouldn't understand what they're talking about from a medical point of view.
If you have a session and you see the Grim Reaper, does that mean someone close to the person you are having a session with will die soon? And do you see who it is or any details?
Sometimes, but most of the time, if I do see the Grim Reaper in a session, it does mean that the subject could be hearing of somebody's passing in the not too distant future or hear of somebody's passing in the not too distant future, but they never come out and say who it is. They basically give me the impression that they're not telling the subject anything that they don't already know or haven't thought of already on their own.
Do you receive messages from angels?
Yes, as I said earlier, different angels may appear in a session for a particular reason and could be a clue for the name, a devotion, a protectiveness, a comforting visitation. There's so many different things that can happen when an angel or archangel appears in a session.
If there is no God, who is the Father?
Well, I would say the creator um, is not a being. The creator is love and light. And it's through that love and light that the creator spoke and things happened. So we've been brought up to call the creator the father. It's only recently I've become more desiring to refer to the father as the creator.
Are orbs the spirits of our loved ones?
I don't know, but I would suspect that some of those pin lights that you may see flashing now and again do have something to do with our loved ones' energy or essence.
Why are we here? What is the purpose of coming here?
Is to progress spiritually back to the infinite light, to make up for past misdeeds and misunderstandings, to learn spiritual progression, to prepare with spiritual progression for what's to come. There's so many different things I could say from sessions that I've experienced.
Does God care what name he is called by here? Every religion has a different name, but it's all God, right?
Um, I've never had any complaints, so I don't know if God objects if he is not being called God. That's why I said the safer title I've chosen is the neutral creator. And even when I say that, my mind is so conditioned to thinking that there's a creator over there, and it's not in any way what we've been taught. Remember, organized religion is about control, and they want to have the final say on how we think and what we do. As I always have learned from their motions toward us, they'll say, do as I say, not as I do. And we certainly have had evidence of that in the last X amount of years.
Does time exist in the world unseen? If so, is it for them here in the present, parallel to our world, and can they see the past and future?
There's no um, essence of time in the world unseen. There's no time clock like there is here. We've created time to be a factor in our lives. But in the world unseen, there's no conception of time. So for many of your loved ones, they could say to me as they do in sessions, it feels as though you're coming to them tomorrow because there's no conception of time. Now, in regards to the past and the future, um, things have come up in someone's session if they choose to show something out of their past, but also future. They have told me they can see around the corner, so to speak, but that would only register with us in an understanding of X amount of years.
Do pets have their own angels and spirit guides assigned to them like people do?
I would say yes, because certainly pets are very cherished over there and very much loved and liked. And I'm sure that there's plenty of souls over there who are loving, kind, and compassionate to them.
When we pass on, who can we see? Are we able to reconnect with anyone we want, like high school friends who've passed on?
Well, usually I've heard souls state that they go to a joyful reunion. And it may seem like every Tom, Dick, and Harry is there. And yet, only those who are most important to you, or pets, for example, that are most important to you, may come to you first. And then as time goes on and you settle in, you may have momentary contact with somebody from your past.
If God is love and light, who is Jesus?
The essence of the creator, love and light also.
Okay, so I think that's the end of our questions for today.
For more videos such as these, subscribe to my channel, please. And sessions are available through September 2026. Autographed books are on the website. Art and sacramentals are up on eBay. The art is up now, the sacramentals are to come. And if you want to keep abreast of me, use those extensions, georgeanderson.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads at George Anderson Medium. So I think that is it for this YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me, and you all take care, and may the Creator bless you and yours both here and hereafter.